Hello and welcome back to another episode of Come Over for Dinner. I'm Beth Hawthorne, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. She used to live in Moscow but moved in 2013 to Lincoln, Nebraska with her family, where she currently lives. She is a wife and homeschool mom to 14, although a couple of them are grown and married. She now has 6 grandchildren. She has 5 and 1 on the way this year, which is very exciting. And she is here to tell us a lot about hospitality that she does in her family with 14 children. I'm sure she has lots of help, so I'm excited to hear all of her tips. Welcome, Mandi Kirsch.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, I am so excited you're here. Thank you for taking time out of your trip to join me and tell me all of the things you've learned over the years with raising children and having lots of people into your home. I'm sure you have friends galore come in, friends of your kids, friends of yours.
Yes, open doors.
Open doors. Your daughter, when she recommended you, said that you make every event special and love to throw a good party.
That is true. I do love an event. I'm honored, truly honored that she thinks so highly of me, that she would recommend me to come on the podcast.
It means you're a fun mom. You have made home fun. Although with that many children, I think life is probably fun all the time.
It is.
Life is always a party when you have lots of children. Mandi hosts family Advent feasts. She is the church's go-to wedding planner. In fact, her basement has wedding and party decor where family and friends can come and borrow things. We're going to hear about that. That's a neat idea.
Awesome.
And she has lots of fun ideas and skills to make all of her ideas happen at whatever event she's planning. So, Mandi, jump in and tell us a little bit more about yourself and some of the hospitality and event planning that you do.
Well, just with a lot of kids, I feel like we fall into having a full house a lot of times, especially with kids getting older and just being involved in different things outside the home. They're always inviting friends over, and I love that. I absolutely love it. My passion is events. I love, to plan Advent feasts and weddings or whatever somebody wants me to be involved in. I totally love it. But with my kids getting older, they have been really challenging me and pushing me to just do hospitality on a more regular basis. And that's been a learning curve for me. Right now we have 11 at home. No, Elena just moved out. So we have 10 at home still. And by the end of the year, we'll have 9 at home because we have somebody engaged. But we have a tiny house. Not a tiny house, but the living space is small. So kitchen, dining room, living room, very small for our size family. And we make it work, and it's wonderful. So I've always been a little bit reluctant to invite other big families but my kids, like I said, have really been pushing me to
expand your horizons and make people fit.
Yeah. And they don't let me forget, is it Romans 12 where it's like talking about how Christians should behave, and it's like they're given to hospitality. Like, okay, you guys are right. I have to conform my thinking. But they make it easy too, because there's lots of teens and they are all very helpful, willing to do whatever it takes to be able to invite friends from church over.
Yes, teens are very flexible.
Yeah,
For one, they're great helpers, but also they don't mind if they're sitting on a couch or hanging out on the back porch or whatever. They enjoy just hanging out with each other and aren't real picky.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to set a very special place for them, and it all has to be all gourmet or anything like that. Oh, that's fun at times, like your Advent feast or something, but it makes it easier.
Yeah, they're so flexible. We have a porch that kind of goes across the front of our house, and that's where they all want to gather anyway. So they just grab a paper plate and head out to the porch, and some people are sitting on the brick ledge and some people are on chairs, and, we keep tables and patio furniture out there for them.
Perfect.
But and it adds almost another room to the house when the weather's nice.
Sure.
So
can you use it in the winter like with space heaters, or no, it's too cold?
We did just buy a space heater. We have not used it yet, but that is the hope. Yes. So my husband likes to just relax, obviously, Sunday when we get home from church. And it would be nice if he could sit out there and not freeze to death. Nebraska is very extreme weather.
When I picture Nebraska, I picture cold and snow.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure it's not like that all year long.
And very hot. In the winter, it's extremely cold and dry. And in the summer, it's very hot and humid.
Okay.
So we kind of get drastic ends of both. But the spring and the fall are
just gorgeous.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's Idaho too. Idaho in the spring. Well, in the summer, it's gorgeous in the summer. Spring and fall can be a little chilly or rainy, but it can also be really pretty too.
Yeah, we're enjoying the weather while we're here. It's just beautiful.
Yes, it's perfect in the summertime. If you ever want to visit the rolling hills of the Palouse, July and August.
Yeah.
And even September. Sometimes you think of June as being the travel month. And it's not that it's not pretty here, but you definitely are going to run into cooler temperatures, maybe some rain, which is no big deal. But July, it really shows off, and August shows off. I tell all my Southern friends, if you're going to come visit, escape the South in July and August.
For sure.
And even September is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now, you never know. Sometimes in the past, there's been, I guess, what they call fire season up here where there might be smoke, but last summer there wasn't. So I'm hoping that that doesn't hit again. Maybe they have better management. I don't know how all that works. Okay. You mentioned the family Advent feast. Tell me a little bit more about that.
The last probably 8 years, I would say probably 8 years, just have really wanted to impact our kids with the reality of the coming of Christ and the advent of that, and just how the whole world was changed and it'll never go back. And that is worth celebrating and making a really big deal about. And we had come from not celebrating Christmas for a couple of years because we didn't know what we thought there. But as we just really realized, God came in the flesh. And
you're taking that celebration from your children.
Yes. And so we just dove in, and my husband was like, do it. As I explained, kind of what I was thinking was every Lord's Day, Advent Sunday, just doing a big, huge feast. And so what we've settled on is we get home from church, I send everybody downstairs, except for a few of the older kids who it wouldn't be quite as much of a surprise for them because we do different decorations every Sunday. We pull out, sometimes it's extremely elegant and sometimes it's just fun, gingerbread themed. So that changes every week. And then the food changes every week, and it's usually more difficult meals, more time consuming meals than we would have during the week or on a Sunday, usually. So I send them downstairs, and when we're all ready and the tables are set, and there's, we always do a little gift box of Lindor truffles or something. And it's so awesome to see, especially the little kids just light up, and there's candles lit. And my husband will read an Advent reading for whatever day we're on. And then we'll usually sing a couple of Christmas carols. And then we do family style meal, which is not common for us.
Usually maybe it's set at buffet style.
Yes, yeah, especially when we're just doing regular hosting, everybody's walking through the line in the kitchen. And so my kids think that that's really special to just have everything there and you're passing it around. That's a feast to them.
Yes.
And so then we just feast, and we normally will play games, or everybody will answer what's your favorite Christmas carol? And then we always have a family gift, which is usually a game that everybody can play, which is getting a little challenging with the age range that we have. So sometimes we'll let our littlest guy open the present so he's involved even if the game is a little over his head. And so we've just collected over the last many years various decor themes. And I have a friend at church who they had really started celebrating Advent as well. And they're big foodies. And so several years ago, it must have been 4 or 5 years ago, she said, I know you do Advent feasts. Do you want to do one for the church?
By the way, how big is your church? Quite a few?
It's between 250 and 300 people.
That's
somewhere
a lot.
Around there. Yeah, lots of kids.
That's a lot to plan for sure.
Yeah, and they have done all of the food, and she's worked with me on brainstorming decor ideas and stuff. And so we have had a blast doing an Advent feast for the church. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's wonderful to have a friend to do it with.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And she has all little kids. So she really appreciates me bringing all my big kids to help pull everything together and move tables. And
so for the church, do you do one, or are you trying to do it every week?
So we do it the last Advent Sunday, right before Christmas. And everybody just loves it. We weren't really sure how many people would want to be involved, especially like a couple years ago. I think it was Christmas Eve. Everybody wanted to be involved. So it's been so much fun.
So how do you plan it? Do you do all the food or is it potluck style?
Both. So she and her husband will usually take care of, like, I think they've done prime rib for the whole church.
That's very special.
Yeah. Once a year type thing.
Yes.
And then she is just really great about like sign up for this many people doing vegetables, this group of people doing, rolls, desserts. And so, yeah, good teamwork, but it's just been so fun to be able to do that. What I love doing at home on like this huge scale and share it with all of our church family.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
Does that meal take the place of one of your Advent feasts?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you do 3.
Yes.
I guess it's usually 3, and then one
And then
with the
that one.
church.
Yeah.
As kind of the culmination right before Christmas.
Yeah.
That is such a fun season.
Yeah, it's wonderful. My kids look forward to it just so much. And then we'll often have a recital. So anybody who wanted to sing, it doesn't have to be a Christmas-themed song, but it usually is. And a lot of people participate that I wouldn't have expected. You start seeing people that have these talents that you had no idea.
Right. Like, I didn't know you could sing and play the guitar.
Exactly. One of my favorites was this last year. I have a 13-year-old Judah, and his little group of buddies, they all got together, planned their own thing, and Judah was playing cello, and another guy was singing, and another one was on piano, and they did this lovely Christmas carol. And I was like, way to go, guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just gives them opportunities to like,
Sure.
you know,
Practice something, do it
practice.
well, and then present it to an audience, which actually really helps young people to get over nerves and stage fright and all of that. So what a
absolutely.
wonderful opportunity.
Yeah. So that has been so fun. And one of the things that I love is, I think Hallie mentioned, we had 2 COVID weddings, one in May. So it was like right after we had our oldest daughter was a student at NSA right after the school year ended. And I believe they had gone home a little bit early because it was crazy, right? So May 10th or 9th, we had a wedding and everything was closed still. So we ended up having to purchase all the wedding stuff. Couldn't rent anything anywhere. And then again in November, Hallie got married, and it was like things had settled down over the summer. And then as we were going into flu season and stuff, everything was shutting down again. And so we had to purchase everything for her wedding. Sydney had a very small wedding. And so with Hallie, it was like, okay, well, we have to expand on all of this. So it kind of started a wedding or event closet in our storage downstairs. And so it's fun to be able to use all of that stuff for Advent feast stuff. I mean, it just all rolls
Absolutely.
over
That's
if you have
wonderful.
stuff that, you can be creative with, use in different ways. So we were like, this is really valuable, actually, if you like events.
Right, because you use it over and over. You could use it for your church feast. And then do you also let friends come and look at things when they have weddings to plan?
Yep. So Sydney's wedding kind of was like got the ball rolling. I had never planned a big event before, but a friend of ours who was engaged at the time thought that it went well. And she said, hey, would you plan my wedding, like help coordinate my wedding? And I was like, yes, I had no idea that I was like, this is so fun.
This is something you enjoy.
Yes.
I think it would stress me out.
Oh, my goodness. And it was a blast. And apparently it went well.
Yes.
And so I helped her with her wedding. And that was a wild one because it was also a COVID wedding. Then the next friend of the girls asked if I would help with theirs. And then we had another wedding. And so
I saw you had some talent.
Yeah, I guess so. And it dawned on me maybe a year ago. I was like, oh, I think it's because the Lord has like helped me to learn how to manage all of these people and all of the working parts of homeschooling all of my children that, oh, there's a skill set that comes with that.
Yes.
That I had never
You're very organized.
recognized. Yeah.
Low stress.
Yeah,
You probably
yeah.
can handle all sorts of things coming at you, roll with the flow, make decisions quickly, all of that you'd learned over years.
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't even realize that I had learned those things. So, yeah, I think we've done 12 weddings now over the last 5 years and lots of rehearsal dinners and other events. So I'm like, oh, this is so fun.
This is
It's
your
just a
thing.
blast. Yeah. And the really cool thing is, when you're a mom, a wife, all of your work is like long term.
Mm-hmm.
There's, you're doing laundry every single day, and that's wonderful. The people need to be clothed. You're doing dishes every single day, and that is wonderful. But with an event, there's like the satisfaction of seeing something come to an end, and it was successful, and you can check it off the list.
Yes.
And
it was a fabulous party, and then everybody went home and you're done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's like an end.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's just laundry. There is no end.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just a satisfaction in like seeing something through to completion.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll see that too with our work at home, but it's the long game,
Yes.
So,
well, how do you do the party or wedding decor in your basement? If people want to borrow things, do you have a certain checkout system or a list? I have heard this idea circulated at times. I'm not sure if there's one in our community. I know I have heard it talked about, like wanting to do something like that. And maybe there's a rental fee or maybe there's not. Maybe you check something out. And I don't know. How do you coordinate that? If somebody thought, well, that's a good idea,
mm-hmm.
what do you do to make sure that you keep up with your stuff, you get
mm-hmm.
it back, it's clean, it's organized, all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I actually have a pretty large unfinished area in our basement, and my husband was gracious enough to let me buy shelves for everything, and so we call it the wedding closet. And so sometimes people will text me if they're doing a baby shower or something and say, I'm trying to do like olive wood themed trays, or can you show me what you have? So I'll send pictures to people, or anyone who wants to come and look can just see what we have. A lot of times it has been people who wanted me to design something for them, and they've given me like colors, and I want to include, this aspect or this aspect. I love pearls. And so then I'll just pull together different, an idea, a mock-up until they love whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times I'm doing it for them, but anyone is welcome to use. And of course we want it back clean and intact. But if things happen, life happens, and the stuff is there to be used, And so there's not necessarily a checkout. It would be a good idea, and another friend and I have talked about doing like a spreadsheet so somebody would know, Mandi has 300 white chair covers or whatever, or so-and-so, because you would know who to go to. But my stuff specifically, I think it's best if somebody comes and wanders through and can just pick, and I try to keep it organized where everything white is on these shelves, and everything gold is on these shelves, and everything silver. And we have a lot of greenery and a lot of floral, and I'm perfectly happy. Like, we have garlands that, let's say that the garlands have pink flowers in them. Well, let's pull those out and put in whatever your color is, because otherwise it's just sitting here, not being used.
Right.
So that's pretty much the way we manage it. It is very low key. It's like, come in and see what you think is going to work for you.
Sure.
Or people will send me
Like a shop.
pictures, and say, do you have anything like this? Or,
Do you have pictures of all of your items ahead of time? Like if somebody wanted you to pull things together and kind of create a mood board or whatever they call it, do you have pictures, say, on your computer of everything you have so that you can kind of pull things together and show them generally what you have, or no?
No, that would be a great idea. I always have pictures on my phone to like maybe zoom in on this section, and I have videos. So like
from actual weddings.
Yes. Yeah. But that's actually a great idea to do like a mood board type where you could pull it together. Because a lot of times we're chatting, our church is amazing with hospitality. I mean, I'm learning so much from these ladies. And so we have a potluck almost every Sunday after church. And so a lot of these conversations happen like at church around a table, while you're having a meal with people. So that would actually be a fantastic idea to pull something together like that.
You should have ladies in your church come over and y'all have a little small party together where y'all are down in the basement snacks and drinks, talking and visiting while people are pulling stuff off shelves and taking pictures.
I love that. And I can
So you don't
already
do it by
think of the
yourself.
people that I would be like, I know they would love this as well. This would be a task that they would love. I'm going to have to put that on my summer to-do list. I love it.
Well, jumping into specific hospitality to you and your family, you have people over. You obviously have lots of children and their friends over. So your food is family friendly, I am quite sure.
Yes, absolutely.
What is one of your favorite menus that you would serve?
I asked my kids what
What is the top
would be
thing?
the menu, and everybody said magic enchiladas.
Magic.
So
that
they're
just automatically
yes.
makes you think these are better than any enchiladas I've ever
Yes.
had.
And actually, it was a friend that named them that 20 years ago, and it has just stuck. And so it is like a highly requested birthday dish, or at least once a month dish, because everybody loves it. It's a big hit. So magic enchiladas, Mexican rice, and refried beans.
That sounds
is the
delicious.
Menu.
Do you make your refried beans from scratch, like starting with pinto beans, or do you just do the can?
We do both. So I haven't canned beans in a couple of years. I was just learning to can last year. And so when I was learning, I had a lot of canned beans. And actually, my 18-year-old she's a great cook. And so she was teaching me how to do, jazz up the pinto beans. And so usually we do canned pinto beans from the store, but we jazz it up with bacon grease and, cumin and all the good spices. So, which I had never done before, but
it makes it taste a little more
homemade.
and
Yeah.
it's so fast.
Yes. Yeah. And it keeps so well, cover it with foil and throw it in the oven, and you can kind of forget about it
keep
until
it
you're
hot.
ready. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so magic enchiladas, Mexican rice, refried beans, anything else?
If we're having people over, I love to just do fun drinks for everybody. Yeah. So
what do you set out? What are your fun drinks?
I try to think about who's coming. So I know a lot of families are not having sugar. So we'll do like a stevia sweetened lemonade or bubbly, something like a sparkling water, or what are they, like the alcoholic seltzers or something like that somebody who's avoiding sugar can still have. And then always something fun for the kids, of course.
Yes. They're the ones that look forward the most to
I know.
whatever
they
drink
really
you
are.
have.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, those are great ideas. Do you serve a dessert?
Everybody wants me to serve a dessert. Desserts are not a strong point for me. So I try to do ice cream cones or
kids love that.
Yes. Yeah. And Hallie's oldest, Gloria, will make a request to me, and she'll say, can you get that ice cream that's rainbow? Or can you get some ice cream cones next time I come? And I'm like, yes, give me ideas. This is not, I do not thrive when it comes to dessert. So
I think if you had anything rainbow or sprinkles, the rainbow sprinkles on top of any kind of ice cream would probably also work, just in a pinch.
Oh, definitely.
Kids love that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot go wrong with ice cream. That's amazing.
So it's definitely go-to, pre-made.
Yes. Down the road here is the WSU, Washington State University Creamery called Ferdinand's, and you can buy a 3-gallon bucket at once, and it's kind of expensive at first. You think, but it lasts forever. We did it with huckleberry ice cream once because that's a new flavor to us, and it's absolutely delicious. And you look at it and you think, well, that's going to go fast. For months, we were serving that. Anytime somebody came over or we had the family meal, it's like, anybody want any huckleberry ice cream?
Absolutely.
We still have some in there.
And you can't beat Ferdinand's ice cream.
It's so good. Well, I would say Bluebell, but Bluebell might, but actually Ferdinand's is very good.
It is so good.
But you can't get Bluebell up here, so I digress. And I don't think you can buy 3 gallons. So Ferdinand's wins on that front. Well, I'm sure restaurants could, but in the store it's only half gallon. And I'm sure it's ridiculously pricey nowadays. So Ferdinand's is the go-to for sure.
Yeah. And if we invite a couple other large families, that's a lot of ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So
what do you typically buy? Speaking of brands, do you have a favorite?
Probably Kemp's is
It's not
pretty typical. Yeah. I mean, you could just pick it up at Walmart. But like in the Midwest, they don't have, at least in the stores in Lincoln, I have not found like Tillamook ice cream or something that's like dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, you're like,
with.
anything will work. Yeah.
Yeah. Put some sprinkles on top and they'll eat it.
Exactly.
It is.
Especially those kiddos. So
yes, absolutely. Do you have any shortcuts or time savers with this menu that you would do? I mean, refried beans from a can, jazzed up is one. That makes it quicker than starting with just a bean.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, for the enchiladas, I mean, it can be a process when you're feeding a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, start the sauce early in the day so it can cool off, double the recipe so you can freeze half of it, and the next time cut that step out. That would probably be the biggest tip that I try to stick to is get the sauce going out of the way earlier in the day, like lunchtime, let it cool off. Same with the corn tortillas. The original recipe was flour tortillas, but I felt like they got soggy. And so we switched it to corn tortillas and, you seal them in oil and that can take a while. So I try to get those two steps out of the way. Then when you're assembling, it's much easier. And I start the chicken in a crock pot early and just let it cook for 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours until it's like falling apart. Throw in some cream cheese and seasonings and a good handful of sharp cheddar. And I think the cream cheese is what makes them magic.
That's the magic right there. I was picturing it.
Yeah.
I would have said the cream cheese would set it over the top.
There's the magic. Yeah. And so then because the sauce is cooled and the tortillas are cooled, it's quick to just, fill and roll and pour the sauce over. So I have a couple of kids who we've realized that they can't really tolerate some dairy. They are lamenting, when I pull their chicken out without the cream cheese. But yeah.
There might be dairy-free cream cheese, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, it might not be magic.
Probably isn't magic. Oh, that's tough when life changes like that. Do you have an assembly line typically when you're arranging?
Definitely. Yes.
Or putting together the enchiladas?
Yeah.
That would make it easier, especially if you had a different person on each thing. Not that you always have that, but sometimes if you have somebody at each station, it can really fly.
Yeah, and I find someone to fry the tortillas for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you're just standing around, get in here and help.
Right.
Nobody wants that job because, it just takes what feels like all day to do that many tortillas. But
how many pans do you typically make at a time?
If it's just our family, I will do a big, what would you call that, like a big sheet pan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll do like a casserole dish size for the dairy-free people. So that's quite a bit. But if we're having other families over, which we've only done this recipe outside of our family night a handful of times because
it's so many.
It's so many. Yeah. But Hallie and Danny, we try to do family night once a week. And that was Hallie's husband, his family. They set that example for us. And it was important to him. So when they got married, he was like, can we try to come over once a week for dinner? And that's just been so much fun. And everybody tries to be there. And yeah.
And it's a regular time you are able to see your grown children, married children.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Keeps you in touch at least once a week. You're going to get to see them and the grandbabies.
Yep. And with our third, who recently moved out, she's student at the University of Nebraska. And so she moved closer to the university with some other girls who are students. And she always tries to be there. She'll drag whoever is at her house with her. So our crowd is growing. And most recently, one of her roommates came in. She is not too far off from planning a wedding as well. And so Elena was like, we've got to drag her down to the wedding closet. And she was
like, wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that's an overwhelming task, I think, at first when you're first beginning. I mean, once you get some things in place, then it feels more manageable. But that initial thinking through of how do I collect all the things to have a spot like that to go to, that's such a wonderful thing to have, such a wonderful tool. We'll be right back after a quick message from today's sponsors. Are you searching for hands-on activities to help your kids explore the practical side of science? Look no further than your kitchen. Inquisicook blends food science and culinary arts into an engaging program that puts delicious food on the family table. Let Inquisicook do the teaching with lesson videos, reliable recipes, and assessment tools that put students on track for success. Their online platform is easy to navigate and optimized for mobile, so the learning experience can move from the classroom to the kitchen without a hitch. Inquisicook turns curious students into intuitive cooks, not just recipe followers. Say goodbye to the tyranny of the ingredients list and say hello to utilizing what's in season, what's on sale, or what's in the fridge. Visit Inquisicook.com to view sample lessons, then check out the recipe gallery to see just how crave-worthy science can be. If you have a homeschool teen doing chemistry next year, consider Axiom Science because this is exactly the kind of thing I wish more families knew about. Nicole Jeffrey, who you might remember from the podcast last year, homeschooled her own children before developing these courses, and you can really tell they were built by someone who understands what homeschool life actually looks like. Students work independently through short video lessons covering the full high school curriculum. There are tons of worked examples and review lessons built in, and every quiz comes with detailed step-by-step solutions and, wonderfully for mom, automatic grading. So instead of sitting at the kitchen table at 10 p.m. trying to grade chemistry problems, students can check their own understanding and see their progress as they go. I also love that the labs use normal household materials like vinegar and baking soda instead of expensive lab kits you use once and then shove in a closet forever. There's no expensive textbook or answer key, no complicated setup, and parents don't need any science background to make it work. A full year of access is just $99, which is honestly incredibly reasonable for a full high school science course. So if you want flexible, rigorous high school chemistry that actually works in real life, go check out Axiom Science at www.axiom, that's AXIOM, -science.com.
With the rice, the tip that I got, I didn't learn to cook until I was in college, and it was like the golden age of Food Network.
Yes.
With Paula Dean and the
Ina
Barefoot
Garten.
Contessa. Yes. Rachel Ray.
Bobby
and her.
Flay.
Yes. It was like if you couldn't cook, everything you needed to know. And so we were students at Washington State, and I would just be watching the Food Network and picking up all of these things, you know. Well, at that same time, I had met a friend who her parents were both from Mexico. And so she was teaching me how to cook Mexican rice. And she said, you have to toast the rice. You have to toast the rice. And if your smoke detectors are not on the verge of being set off, you're not doing it right.
Okay, this is a recipe we have to have.
Yeah.
This is authentic Mexican.
Yes.
That's
and I was
amazing.
like, okay. And then she always used chicken stock instead of water for the rice.
I've heard of that to give it better flavor.
Yeah. And then just your classic, chili powder and cumin, like Mexican food spices. And you just can't beat it. I've been using a rice cooker recently because it's so easy, but you can't toast the rice. So I'm like, if it's Mexican rice, we got to go, we got to go the right way.
Pot. Would you be able to do that in an instant pot? Because I know you can saute in there.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could toast the rice and use that.
I bet you
could. A rice
could.
cooker may be different because the settings is maybe just one push a
Yes.
button and it goes. But I wonder if the Instant Pot would do it.
Yeah, I bet you could. I had not thought about that.
Okay. I'll have to try that with this recipe.
Just a couple tablespoons of olive oil and then toast it till it's like golden brown and brown. Yeah, and then you just follow the regular rice
even
cooking
if you
recipe.
had to do two different steps, like do that on the stove and then dump it into a rice cooker, it would be worth it just to try this authentic recipe and still have the convenience of a rice cooker.
Yeah.
I would
That's
dirty
true.
an extra pan.
That's true. And I don't do the dishes for dinner, so there would be no loss for me.
The kids would have an extra pan to wash. No big deal. That's pretty great. All right. What is one of your best prep tips when people are coming over to your house? You are planning for them. You're saying, okay, I have all these things to get in place. Do you have a shopping tip or a cleaning tip or anything like that that you would say really helps you?
I just try to consider who is coming, I think. If it's families with little kids, put away the Legos that your kids don't want broken apart. I take anything off the low tables, just so that it's easier for those parents to not have to be constantly like, oh, don't touch that, don't touch that. Get out the smaller toys that little kids aren't going to choke on and the books that they might enjoy. Yeah, just trying to consider the people that are coming and how I can bless them. And I do love to use that as an opportunity to do like the deep cleaning things that we clean the whole house every day. There's enough kids that everybody needs a chore. And so everything's getting done every day. But there are things that get pushed off. And so they're motivated. So we're like, okay, well, let's
Clean
wash
out the
windows.
closet.
Yeah, like get the game closet reorganized because people are going to want to be in there. And of course, that's not necessary. And,
Sure.
and nobody would care.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'm like, let's just take advantage of this.
Mm-hmm.
So clean bathrooms, I feel like considerate thing to do. Enough toilet paper.
Always check that.
Yeah. We try to get, just the front porch especially set up for people to hang out and fellowship. And we have a field across the street. We live in a neighborhood, but there's a big city field across the street. And so pull out things that we think people will want to take over there, footballs and spike ball and all of that kind of stuff. So
that's fabulous that you have a place right across the street that kids can go to.
yeah, especially with helping people to spread out, because when we're just having families over or family night, the goal is not really for everybody to be together like it is in an Advent feast or, something more formal like that. It's just to open up the house and fill it with people that we want to get to know or that we know and love. And sometimes that ends up looking like all the guys are on the back deck smoking a cigar and all the moms are in the living room with little kids and all the teens are out playing spike ball or chatting on the front porch. So that was something that I had to just accept. Like it's a small space. People are okay being split up, and of course there's different conversations going on with the men and the women and the teens, and we're family oriented. Mm-hmm. So it was hard for me to be okay with that.
Right.
But like you said, my kids are totally fine with it. They just roll. They're like, that's fine. We want to go.
Yeah.
We
go
don't all
play
have
with
to
the
be together.
teens,
Yeah.
go play a game.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's times when you're all together, like Advent feasts or whatever. And initially you're all together when you start the meal and all of that. But being able to say, okay, there's lots of space for people to go and do their thing.
Right.
Have their own conversations and
Totally.
games.
And just to accept, like, this is the house God has given me. Is it the house I would have built? Probably not, but I love it, and it's what I have to work with, and pray to the Lord, like, show me how to be a hospitable person with what you've given me and relax about it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm uptight because I feel like everybody's crowded or there's not enough space or, whatever you can be stressed out about, then it definitely spreads. Your guests know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so
they might think it's cozy and fun and very family oriented. And meanwhile, you're projecting this aura of stress, which
totally.
They never would have thought of on their own. So definitely leave that behind. Don't do that.
And we're also much more critical of our own space, right? Like we know all the flaws and that drawer is broken but if you go into somebody's house, you're never like looking for something that's wrong. You're just enjoying the company. And that's how people come in to your house too. And so it's like, let me show the graciousness to them of just being relaxed, assuming the best that they're just going to enjoy the time here. And
you are sharing the blessings God's given you. And we often think of what blessings we would have given ourselves. And it ends up being an attitude of ingratitude.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with hospitality, no matter how you're exercising it, whether you're inviting people to your home or doing other things, just sharing from what you have, it definitely has to start with an attitude of gratitude. I'm not meaning to rhyme, but
it's catchy.
It's catchy. It's the new phrase. An attitude of gratitude, remembering that God has given these things to you. And like you said, accepting the house, the circumstances, the paycheck, the car, whatever it is, this is what God has given us, and to be thankful for it. And of course, there's a good ambition to want to become more, or, raise your paycheck or move to a bigger house at some point. And so none of that's a bad thing if it's done in the right way. But in the meantime, being content is difficult sometimes.
Yeah. And using what you have to the best of your ability, God gave me this and because he loves me, and it's a good. And sometimes it might feel like we're bursting at the seams when we invite 3 families over, but it is what it is. And we live in Lincoln, our church, and most of our friends are in Omaha. So it's an hour drive. And that was another thing that I struggled with was, well, if we invite people over, then they have to drive, and we're used to driving. So it's just easier but that's just not true either.
They like it. They like coming.
Yeah. I mentioned that to a friend a few months ago. And she was like, nobody minds driving down here. That's something that I had set up in my mind that it would be burdensome or inconvenient. But like I said, our church is there's tight fellowship, and everybody just wants to, get to know each other and spend time together. And so they're like, invite people over.
And if you keep having magic enchiladas on the menu.
Exactly.
The word might get out. Everybody will be like, we're not sure if we're going to come or not. What are you having? Is it magic enchiladas?
Yeah, we'll have to do that on a large scale, introduce everybody to it. But
well, I'm excited about trying these recipes. So if anybody else out there wants to, it'll be on comeoverfordinner.com. There's a website. She'll have a blog post with everything we talk about, the recipes and recommended kitchen items. It's also on the index under just different categories, so you could find it there. So it's always there for you to be able to recreate in your own kitchens if you want to. What is your best advice for making people feel welcome when they come into your home?
That is a good question. I feel like just working on conversation, asking questions, that's something I really struggled with when my husband and I were first married. I was like, I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to get to know people, especially people who weren't just like me in the same stage of life. And he's so wise. He's like, just ask people. Just ask them questions. Get to know them. People will talk to you if you learn how to ask questions. So not that I have arrived there by any means, but
I still say dumb things.
Yes.
Like, I didn't say that right.
Absolutely.
Why? I know how to talk to people, and then I'll say something awkward because I feel awkward or whatever.
Yeah. And honestly, like, people are so gracious. I feel like I always say something that I'm like, What did I just say?
That came out weird.
Yeah.
Another thing I try to remember is to ask open-ended questions, because if they can just answer with a yes or no, then the conversation might die if they're not a real talkative person. But if you're trying to get to know them and pull something out, some tidbit where you can have a further conversation, if it's just a yes.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
You're kind of back to square one.
Well, and if your heart and desire is really to get to know this person, then that's helpful, because you're like, well, what books have you been reading? What are you looking forward to this summer with your kids? What are you growing in your garden? And that just gives them an opportunity to open up, because like you said, there's just space to expand.
Right. And a lot of those types of questions, you obviously have things in common. We all have hobbies, or we all travel to see family, or there's gardening, or, usually you can find something where it's common ground, and now we have something to talk about and get to know each other further. Here, there's been so many people moving that I can ask people, have you lived here long? And I always feel like I'm the newbie, even though I've been here, I guess, close to 5 years. And somebody who I've heard their name, or they've been in the community, or they have a business, I think they've been here forever. And they're like, we've been here 5 years or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's all?
How are you so established?
I just assumed you were here forever, your whole lives. And so then getting to talk to people about, or even if they have lived here their whole lives, just hearing about where they grew up in the rolling hills of the Palouse.
Mm-hmm.
But if they haven't, where did you move from and what made you move? And do you get to visit your family back there often? I can go on and on. Sometimes I talk to people probably too much.
Well, and then you find out, wow, that woman is doing something that is, I would have never thought, and is just remarkable.
Yes.
As I get to know various women in our church, it's like, oh my goodness, and this person is a biblical counselor. This person, her heart is to grow a cutting garden. And she's like 3 or 4 years into planting flowers, and so, does this or that. And you just start to realize, wow,
there's so many talents.
Yeah, so many talents. Women who are just like really taking their job as dominion takers very seriously. It's very inspiring.
Yes, that's one aspect of this podcast that I just love, is because I actually get to have longer conversations with people than I typically would at church or something. And I have been surprised lots of times, like, what? You do that? You know that? You're an expert at this? What?
Yeah. Or hearing someone's salvation story. I'm like, I never, I just assume, and I don't know why I assume this, because I was saved at 17 out of like a very difficult childhood, very rough teenage years, and my life was transformed. But I assume if I've met somebody at church that they have always grown up in church, which is wonderful. That's our dream, right, for our children. But that who they are right now in this minute is who they've always been. And so hearing how they came to Christ, whether it is that like, oh, I just always believed. I don't remember a day that I didn't believe the word of God, or, I had this drastic salvation moment, or whatever it is. It's like, and that's what's connecting us. And so I just love to hear. I love to hear how are you in the body of Christ? And here we are together, covenanted together, and we should know that about each other.
God uses all different types of stories to encourage us and to build us. Okay, well, let's move on to your favorite kitchen item. You probably have lots of kitchen items with such a large family. Do you have a standout favorite that you would recommend?
I do not go a week without using my crock pots. I love my crock pots. Busy days, you just get it going in the morning and set it and forget it. That is super, just daily life. And then probably my second is my French press.
French press, you kind of have to have that going first thing in the morning.
You do. And I mean, any sort of coffee maker, it just, especially when you're hosting, is who doesn't want a cup of coffee or a hot cup of tea? So
I got away from the French press. I always did the French press. Well, for years I did the French press, but with hosting, I got away from the French press because I felt like it was so much time. And then I ended up with 2 French presses. I guess it depends on your crowd. Kids aren't drinking coffee typically, so maybe 2 would work. Like if I had 1 regular, 1 decaf, and then if everybody was like, what, decaf? Nobody drinks decaf. There's a lot of people up there like that, decaf. And so then I would have 2 regular, but it just seemed like I was up away from the table a lot.
That is the drawback with the French press. We have actually talked about doing just a coffee pot because it's so fast.
Then you can press a button.
Yeah, and walk away.
I try now to set up my coffee maker where all I do is press a button and then come sit back down.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But the French press is delicious, and it's not that much time.
Well, and I was looking on Amazon because for that very reason, that if you're offering coffee to multiple people, you're up and down. I mean, my French press currently is maybe 3 cups of coffee, right? They have gigantic French presses.
They do.
Yes, like 2 to 3 times the size of my little typical one. So that is now on my Amazon wish list for Christmas. So
now the problem is solved.
Yeah. Yep. Hopefully.
You could do a couple of those, or even maybe just one of those.
Yeah.
And then you could do it just one time. Do you boil your water on the stove, or do you do an electric tea kettle?
We just started an electric tea kettle.
Okay. I would think that would make it easier.
Yeah, it's so fast. I was watching some YouTube show, and it was this British person who couldn't believe that Americans weren't using, electric kettles.
People
And I
that
was like,
own them
I
are
guess
that way.
Yeah, totally.
Like, how do you not have, you just press a button and the water boils?
Yeah, it's been life-changing.
Yeah. I would say that would make it a lot easier too, because I always did the pot of water on the stove.
Yeah.
But if you could pre-measure it and have it ready to go, again, where you can just press that button and then when it boils, because that would make time away from your guests very minimal too, if you could just get the water going. And some electric tea kettles have like a temperature thing that you can set on top. Some of them you just press the button and it boils. Others you can press a button of whether you're doing like a white tea or a black tea or coffee. They have different things because of the ideal temperature being a little bit different. For your
See, maybe that's really
drink.
The key is the electric kettle, because then you can, tea is still an option. So that might be
That's true.
the more strategic move.
You could pour your water, still have some hot water available or going so people could do tea. That's a fun idea. I'll have to reconsider my French press.
Yeah.
Bringing that back out.
Get that big one.
Exactly, because that would be fun. I recently was looking at, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it was some kind of siphon type coffee thing, which no one's ever seen before. I'm not sure which country it's popular in, but it was all about the experience.
Okay.
And so I'm sure it made a good cup of coffee, but when I was reading about it, they were talking about how the reason really you would pull this out is because it's kind of an experience and cool to watch. And it's something activity for your guest is not really quite the right word, but anyway, I'd never heard of it before, and I thought it was very interesting. But I'm like, okay, nope, you don't need to add another way to make coffee into your kitchen.
What is it? It sounds really familiar to me. Is there a specific brand?
There probably is. Okay, siphon or vacuum brewing uses vapor pressure in a vacuum to produce an incredibly clean yet full-bodied cup of coffee. Water is heated in a bottom chamber, pushed upward into the top chamber to brew via full immersion and filtered back down as the heat cools. And it's all glass. You can see it. It almost looks like you're in a chemistry lab or something.
I think, and I can't say this 100%, but I think our pastor and his wife have that very thing. And the cup of coffee that they made me the last time I was there was
delicious.
Yes.
Okay, now you're talking me into this. Yeah, bon appetit. I'm seeing a recipe or a link that says, everything you need to make siphon coffee like a chemist. It's very precise. First, prepare your heat source. Next, weigh out your coffee beans. Anyway, so you very precise and then watching it, and then it's a delicious cup of coffee. So,
yeah, what an experience.
Who knew? What an experience. Maybe one day in my life I'll try this.
Yeah, exactly.
But French press is also a really popular way to make coffee, so maybe better than my coffee pot that I'm using.
Well, people are happy to have a hot cup of coffee and some fun creamers. I mean, heavy cream is always the winner, but it's fun to have some flavored stuff too. And yeah, because you never know. I think because we do live a little bit further away, we'll often have people come and stay a long time. So offering that cup of coffee or pulling out, tortilla chips and salsa later in the evening so you're not sending people home with grumbly tummies. Yeah.
Those are great ideas. Do you have a favorite story from all of your years of hospitality that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I was thinking on this and nothing really popped out to me, partly because I don't feel like my memory works very well.
The older we get, the more we forget. Like, what did happen last week?
I would say we had, like I said, a small house. And my kids, of course, want to invite other large families because then they each have a friend. And so we have had like some Thanksgiving meals or Advent feast where we are like pulling furniture out of the house to set up another table or bringing in patio furniture and covering it with a tablecloth. So yeah, I mean, I have a memory of my kids. We have, for whatever reason, in this tiny house, a gigantic coffee table. And it's probably because people can do school. Like my littler kids will get their schoolwork done. And it is heavy as can be. And so there's like all these kids trying to, weasel this gigantic coffee table down the hallway into one of the bedrooms as we're like stacking furniture back in the bedroom so that we can make room and invite other big families, because it's a totally different atmosphere when you like everybody needs a seat at a table. Everybody needs a little arm room and we need a full place setting. And so we have cleared out the living room for
looks like moving day.
Fun. Yeah. We have a friend who lives a little bit closer to Omaha, and they love to host something. Like they have this lovely big open basement. And so anytime I'm like, hey, do you want to, open up your house to this party or that party? So we've actually probably once a year, Advent feast. We have just on our own. It's not the church thing, but we want to like have a big party. And so we will often do an Advent feast in their basement and just do the exact same thing where we're hosting and my husband is doing the readings and take over their basement
too.
So
you're planning it and bringing food and all of that, but you're able to expand your numbers.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Super fun.
She's
and
offering the place.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming their family comes down for the feast.
Yeah, very close friends. And actually, the last time we did it at their house, we did an Advent feast at their house. The game was bingo. And so there's like 65 people playing bingo. And it was so funny. And it was perfect because everybody, every age, just like was having a blast. And all these teenage kids who were like, just thrilled with it. It was a big hit. So
that's great. 65. Oh, that is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sounds like a true party.
Fun. Yeah. That's been like probably every other year.
Well, those are great ideas. And I especially love the idea of a family Advent feast, just planning that ahead of time. I'm assuming throughout the year, you're kind of planning what your theme's going to be.
Yes.
And then prepping ahead of time with your decorations or your food so that you're ready. But thinking through very specific feasts and activities would make it very special and very memorable for your children. So you have accomplished that, I'm quite sure.
Yeah, they're enjoying it. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mandi, for joining me. This has been wonderful to hear all of your tips and recipes and ways that you welcome people into your home. I know my listeners are going to love this episode.
Oh, I hope so. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Until next time, bye for now. Before you go, if you enjoyed this episode, take a second to follow the show and leave a review. It really helps the podcast grow and reach new listeners. Thanks for listening, and if someone came to mind during this conversation, be sure to share this episode with them.